Ideal Professionals video tutorials. In this tutorial, we'll talk about transaction menu. Talk about posting of vouchers like sales, purchases, payment, etc. Let's talk about configuring vouchers. We also mention cost centers, etc. So we go to Tally. Under our transaction menu, we go to accounting vouchers. This is our sales. On the right hand side, we can select voucher type. You can either select POS that we earlier created or sales. POS is for cash transactions, while sales is our sales invoice. Also, we also have contra, we have payment, we also have our payment, ordinary payment and check payment. I'll press the escape key. We also have receipts, we have journals, we have credit note, and we have debit note. And we also have purchases. So let's go back to sales and select our sales invoice. So this is in automatic. So it automatically bring number 1. That's the first sales invoice. You can now enter the reference number to identify this particular invoice. It can be in letters and it can be in numbers. They can call it O1A. I'll press the enter key. You notice that, let me press escape. Notice that it is keeping the date column. And to also put the date, I can always come here to select date of the voucher. O2, enter. So let me put it back to O1. To enter. So that's for the date. In this particular invoice, if you come down to the right hand side, you can see account invoice. Account invoice. Account invoice, anything displaying on the screen is the opposite of what displays at the right hand side. If I want to change it, so this is the item invoice. It's showing the name of the item. That's the quantity, rate, discount and amount. Then the party name, who is our customer that we are selling to. So if I now change it to account invoice, I'll press account invoice. So this is now account invoice. There's no more item. It's now telling me particular. So if I want to return it to item invoice, I will select item invoice. Also, I have as voucher. What's displaying here is as invoice. As invoice is because it's showing the quantity, the rate, discount, and the amount. If I change it to as voucher, I will select as voucher. So this as voucher, that is debit and credit. So let me return it back to as invoice. So this is the invoice. Now, to post, I will just select the name of the customer or press enter. Customer I'm selling to, let me say Barry. It's not giving me dispatch note. I'll press enter and all these details, I can enter all these details. But if I don't want to enter all these details and I don't want Tally to give me this, I can always configure. So let me press the escape key to go back, and I'll now come to configure. If I press configure, that means I want to configure this particular sales voucher. So let me press configure. It's not telling me sales invoice configuration. Accept complementary details. That's the address, dispatch details. I can change it to no, so that it should not give me all those information. Print default name and address of party. Allow separate buyer and consignee name, so that the consignee is different from the buyer. So I'll say no. Use common ledger for item allocation. For instance, if I'm to use sales account only for all my sales, then I'll set it to yes. But once I'm using separate ledgers, that is sales for food as a stock item separately, and I'm selling my beverages is separate, so I'll leave it at no, and so on and so forth. So let me accept this. Control A to accept, or you can just press enter and accept. So I also set, it's not showing me the current balance of buy the buy, that is 120,000, and it's telling me that the credit limit is 50,000. In previous tutorial we talked about setting credit limit. So let me now continue. I'll press enter. So it's no more bringing all those details. So now to select my stock item that I want to sell. I want to sell food, for instance. So I'll just press, that's my stock item. I'll press F. It's not giving me the list. It's not telling me 50 available. Because I press F, so it's now telling me food. So if I want to now show, if I now press the backspace key, it's now showing me the list of all my inventory. So you can have thousands of inventory. So you can just press the first letter to identify your inventory faster. So I press F and select food. Enter. It's now asking me what is the location. We have many locations. Let me press the backspace key to show all my locations. I have Abuja, I have Apapa, I have Ikeja, but all of my stock item, I allocated them to main location. So I'll select main location. The quantity, I want to sell 30 at what rate? At the rate of 3,000 naira. I'll press enter. Press enter. I'm no more. So let me just press enter. It's now asking me account details for food. I'll now press S. That is sales for food, because I'm selling food. Press enter. Enter. The next item I want to sell is beverages. So I'll press B. I'll select it. Also main location. I'll select it. Quantity. Let me sell 10. I'll press enter. What's the rate? Call it 1,005. Press enter. Enter. So it's not telling me my total is 105, and my credit limit is set at 50,000. So let me now press enter. Sales, beverages. So I can also compute VAT on this particular invoice. I'll just press enter once more and select VAT. I'll press V, and so it's now computing 5% VAT on my total sales. Because when we were creating VAT, you set it at 5%, and you set on total sales. So this is how to post your sales invoice. Now, because I have set this credit limit of 50,000, it will now give me a notification now that credit limit of buy the body 50,000 exceeded by the current balance is 230,000. So I'll press enter. So it's now turning me back to the particular, it's not saving it. So what am I to do here? I want to now go back. I'll press the escape key and go to account info. Then I'll select the ledger. I'll now alter the credit limit. I'll go to receivables. I'll now delete and say accept. Control A. I will now press the backspace key. So go back to my voucher. So it's the first voucher, number 1. So my code, I'll call it A1. Enter. Buy the body. It's no more giving me the, so I can make it faster now. Food. Location, main. What am I selling? 35. Rate. Let me make it 30. Rate 3,000. The account details, that's my sales account for food. I press enter. Then beverages, enter. Main location, quantity, I can say 10. I press the enter key. What's my rate? 1,005. I press the enter key. Enter. What's the account details? That is sales for beverages. Enter. Then one more enter. Then I'll press V for my VAT. 5% of it. 5,250. Enter. 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 And up my narration. Bin. Sales of food and beverages to Body the Body. Limited. So on and so forth. Then enter, enter, and accept. So automatically it's telling me that the second, I can now enter the second sales invoice. That's number 2. So that's how to post sales invoice for our items, stock items. So assuming I want to now post my services. So I'll press the escape key. I'll go to account info. And now create under direct income. I can have other services like training. You can call it training. Training income. I'll press enter. Tell me duplicate. Is it there already? Okay. That's duplicate entry. So let me view my, let me display training income T. So it is there. Training income under direct income. Inventory value affected, no, because it's service. So we accept. Control A. I also want to see, let me press delete. Let me check out my rental income. To create rental income, create rental income. No direct income, yes. Then Control A to accept. I can also have indirect income like interest income and so on and so forth. So then press the escape key. Then I'll go back to accounting vouchers. I can just press V. So I now want to post my service. So I don't need name of item. So what I want to do is to configure and make sure that allow income account in sales voucher, set it at yes. So now accept, Control A. My reference, I can say A2. I can set it to Chief Oni. Then I don't want to the name of item. I can just come here to account invoice and also remove this rate and par and put it as voucher. So press my enter key, Chief Oni. Debit of 100,000. I press enter. It's now asking me method of adjustment. Is it a new ref? Is it advanced? Or is it an account? So new ref A2. Enter. Enter. That now credit my rental income. Also 100,000. So I can just say bin rentals to Chief Oni. Now press the enter key to accept. Can also post one more training. Let me call it A3. Assuming I trained staff of Wafa Limited for 50,000. New ref A3. 50,000. Enter. Training income 50,000. Now accept, and now put narration, then accept. So that's how to post my sales. I can also post my POS, selecting it, select POS, and this is my POS. So another good thing about POS is that I don't need to create a ledger for the customer. Once is a one-off payment, I collect my cash or my credit card, just collect my money once and for all, so I don't need to create the account of the customer. So I select the location. I'll say main location. Then I'll now party account name. I'll leave it at not applicable. So I'll select enter. So it will now tell me to enter the customer details. So I'll now say, I can now call it maybe Mr. Mike. Then the address, you can just put Port Harcourt, and so on and so forth. Enter. So you can also now select the sales account. Assuming I'm selling foam, you can just select F. What's the rate? By default, it skip the first, assuming I'm selling one. So I can always come to configure. So it's not telling me POS configuration. Skip quantity field during POS invoicing. Faster entry. So now set it to no. Print default name and party. I can put it at yes. Count to print. Skip discount field and so on and so forth. So I'll now press enter. So Mr. Mike, Port Harcourt, enter. Sales form is now coming to quantity now because I've changed it in my configure. So you can always configure to your specifications. I can put it at 50. What's the rate? Can call it 10,000, and so on and so forth. Press down to calculate my VAT. Enter. What is the cash that I'm receiving? Is it petty cash or cash in hand? Then call it cash in hand. Cash rendered 5,000. Also, it's also possible that it's not paying in cash. There are other ways of paying. So I can now come to my right hand side, multi-mode payment. I'll select multi-mode payment. So it's not telling me it can be gift voucher, it can be credit or debit card, it can be check. We are able to select the bank, and it can be cash. So when I now select check, for instance, I will now press delete key, delete, and backspace. So it's now showing me the list of all the banks that I have. You can now select GTB. It's not asking me. Then I enter 500,000. Enter. The bank name, in case it's a separate bank from the bank that I'm using, assume it is Access Bank. I'll press enter, and the check number, and enter my narration being so and so. Then I'll accept. It's not asking because I configured it that I want to print. So I can always come here to configure my print language, preview, and no preview. You want to preview before you print, you can just press preview. It's now, there's no more preview here. Now say with preview, it's now showing with preview. Titling, want to title the report. You want company address to show, I can put it at yes. Phone number, and so on and so forth. I'll press enter to accept. I can also say page numbers, 1 page range. I can also say enter. preprint and plain paper. If I say pre-printed, that means I'm printing on letterhead paper. If I say print on a plain paper, that means it's not a letterhead. So to select plain paper, I'll select plain paper. So opposite of what is reflecting on the screen is what is here. So to put it in preprint, that's like letterhead paper, I'll press preprint. For this one is a plain paper, so I'll press plain paper. So print format, you also have quick and neat. You also have copies. You can press enter. So how many copies to make? And make 2, 3, 1. Just copies. Just select your printer that you want to use to print it. See, enter. Portrait, cancel. I can also configure my print, title document, method, and so on and so forth. So I'll press the escape. Now let me see my preprint. I'll press yes. To zoom it, I'll press zoom. So this is my POS, Mr. Mike, Port Harcourt, time posted 16. What am I buying? Foam, quantity 50, rate 100, 500,000, amount 500,000. Check. Access, so on and so forth. Press the escape. Escape. So it's now telling me POS number 2. That's the second POS. So the first one has been accepted. Let's have to post POS. Now let's just go to purchases. Just select purchases. The same way. The reference number, you can call it A1. So what my creditors? KFC. What am I buying? Food. Is remaining 20. My phone is remaining 150. So now I want to purchase more. So to main location, I want to buy 50. It's not telling me by default the last opening balance. That was 2005. Opening balance for stock 2005. Let's assume that increased to 2008. Press enter, enter. Enter. It's not telling me the account details for food, that is purchases food. Enter. And so on and so forth. So that's how to post purchases. We also have contra for cash and bank transaction. Debit the cash or petty cash, debit the bank, or vice versa. Payment, we created the payment for check. You can also have ordinary payment. Assume we are paying KFC, we select our bank account that we are using to pay. Let me use GTB. Enter. Who are we paying? We are paying KFC. It's showing my GTB current balance. It's showing the amount I'm owing KFC. Assuming I'm paying KFC just 100,000. It's not telling me against ref. I'll say yes. So pending bill. So it's now showing me the balance from 940 to 180. For the forms, it's not telling me forms. You can see it forms, but that's how to make payment. So we will now have favoring name. Assuming it can be the name of the company, it can be the name of the person that collected the check. So KFC check. We now have types of transaction type: check, electronic, DD, direct deposit, interbank transfer, order, same bank transfer. So I'll leave it at check. 100,000. We also have the instrument number. Let me call it 10. Instrument date, account payee, and being so payment to KFC. Accept and accept. I have to post my payment. I can also post receipt. I'm receiving to UBA. Who am I receiving from? Let me say Barry the Barry. How much is he paying? This is outstanding balance 230,250. So let him pay 50,000. I'll press enter. Against ref, yes. It's now showing me the pending bill. He spent 50,000 out of it. So his balance is now remaining 180. 180,250 naira. Enter. Same as received from Barry, check 50,000, instrument number, bank name that is paying from. You can call it Intercontinental Bank. Branch Abuja. And the narration, so on and so forth. We can also configure our receipt by pressing configure. This is receipt configuration. Skip date field, you can press it as yes, so that you not need to go. You can also use credit or debit instead of to and buy. In India, they use to or buy. To means credit, while debit means buy. One on negative balance, and so on and so forth. So I press the escape key. Also have our journals as usual. Journal is for debit and credit transactions. We want to post our depreciation. You can use our journal. You can select depreciation. We don't have depreciation, so let me go back, escape, and go and create depreciation account. Under my ledgers, create, I'll call it depreciation. As an expenses, indirect expenses, so I'll press I. Now select indirect expenses and accept. I'll now go press the escape key to go back to my voucher, accounting voucher V. I can now select depreciation, debit depreciation, Let me assume 5,000. Then I now credit accumulated depreciation for 5,000. So we can have depreciation, separate depreciation motor vehicle, depreciation properties and equipment separate, or you can have just one. So depending on how you want it, then we accept. We can also configure our journal also. Journal configuration. We can also allow cash account in journals. Put it at yes, even to post cash transactions in journals, and so on and so forth. We also have the forex as voucher, show the balance of voucher, show ledger balances, and so on and so forth. We also have use automatic check numbering, allow selection of check range. So I'll press the escape key. We just have to post our journal. We also have our credit note and debit note. Credit note is when a customer return goods to us. So we now credit his account. So let me call it 2, 3. Let me say buy the barrier also. I'll now return it to as invoice, so that it's able to show my quantity, name of item. Press enter. So what is it returning? Assuming it's returning beverages that I bought earlier. Main location. Assuming it's returning just 3. At 1,005 is the rate he bought it earlier. So same sales beverages, and we also calculated VAT on it. So that's how to post our return, being goods returned from Barry the Barry. Then accept. So same goes for debit note. When we return goods to our creditors, so they will post returning goods to and the amount, the quantity, the item you are returning. Also, then press the escape key to go back. Also, our inventory voucher. This is our inventory voucher. This is for transferring goods from one location to another. We can also use it for stock adjustment. For stock adjustment, you can only post source only, consumption only. For pilferage, post source only to reduce our item. And for increasing our item, for adjusting it upward, use our destination stroke production. Just posting only this side and leave the end of list, or posting this only for reduction. So to select it, just press delete. It now show all the list of our items. Put that food is 70, so you can just select food, consumption, main location. What's the quantity that reduced? Let me say 5. Is the rate 205, enter. So I'll press bearing preferred or obsolete stock, accept. So when I go back to press food, is now showing 65 instead of 70. It's now showing 65 because there was a reduction. So if I want to post, if I select end of list and post production only, you can say that same food, and the main location M, I can now put 20. And narration, and now select food, is now showing 85. That is to increase our stock, to reduce it, we use the source, to transfer from one location to another, from source to destination. So these 3 different purposes. So I press the escape key. Another thing I want to talk about is our cost center. Where you can locate cost center is under our account info. Under account info, we locate cost center. This particular account info is not displaying cost centers. What are cost centers? Is any unit in the organization to which transaction can be allocated. When only costs are allocated, it is called cost center, and when profit are also allocated, it is called profit center. Example, we can have a department in an organization. That's the finance, manufacturing, marketing. We now want to use it to track our finance, manufacturing, and marketing. You can now create the cost centers. Also, under marketing, we can also have it as different salesmen. Salesman A, salesman B, salesman C. Under marketing, just as we usually group our groups and ledgers. So to now make sure that the cost center is showing, we just come to features and accounting features. Then we now select maintain cost center. We now change this to yes. Now say Ctrl A and press the escape key. So it's now showing cost centers. So I can now select it to create cost centers. That is my finance. I will accept, Ctrl A, then marketing, then accept. Under marketing, I can also now create salesman A, that's the first salesman. Under marketing, accept, and the second salesman B under marketing. So that's how to create it. Now, to now reflect it in my posting, I can now go back to my accounting voucher for posting transactions. V. I want to post a sales invoice, for instance. Let me call it sales invoice. Sales. What's the reference? Let me say 45. What's the party name? Let me use Tenari Limited. What am I selling? Let me sell supplies. S. What's the location? Main location. Let me sell 40. At what rate? 700 naira. No discount. It's not showing me the account for supplies, sales supplies. Enter. It's now giving me cost allocation for sales supplies. So I can put it under finance. These are all our cost centers: finance, marketing, salesman A, salesman B. So this is where you allot, you apportion it, you allocate. Then we say finance and accept. So and so on and so forth. That's how to use our cost centers, depending on kind of organization you are talking about. And so on and so forth. So a quick review: under accounting vouchers, we have our contra, payment, escape, receipt, journals, sales. Under sales, we have accounting invoice, and we have item invoice. We also have as voucher and as invoice. We can also configure each voucher. You can configure the sales invoice configuration, press the escape. You can also configure the receipt. You can configure the journals, payment, and so on. You can also apportion or allocate cost to cost centers. You can also create the cost centers as a groups and group them under each other, as we do for ledgers, under groups. In this tutorial, we talked about transaction menu, posting vouchers, sales, purchases, payment, etc., configuring each voucher. We just talked about cost centers. I hope this has been informative for you, and I want to thank you for viewing.